Alright, but if you're going to win at case teaching, 3 things you got to do. You got to prepare well, you got to teach it well, and you got to debrief it well. Okay? Now today I shortened the debrief, and I shortened the end of my teaching on that case. But preparing, right? You've got to get prepared, and you got to have that class prepared. Okay? So let's take these 4 P's. I always say the 4 P's in marketing. Well, there's 4 P's in case teaching. Preparation prevents poor performance. Okay? So teaching with cases before you enter the class. Okay? Remember, there's 2 people involved in this dance. Okay? There's 2 groups. Okay? There's you, and there's the students. So the first thing you got to do is be sure the students know the rules of the game. Okay? Alright. Now, one of the things I do right away in my class, the very first week of class, is I have a video that I show the students about what is class participation and what is not. Okay, and if anybody would ever like that video, you can just write to me and I'll send it to you. It's hilarious. Okay? I've got students out in the class, and I talk to them about there's different types of class participation. Okay? Students think that going like this is class participation. And I show students nodding. I say, this is not class participation. And I see students going like this. I agree. That's not class participation. And I take them through all these different types of class participation, that these are not true class participation. And what I do is I try to tell people, look, what I'm going to gauge you on is not just how many times you raise your hand, but how much you contribute to the class. Okay? It's not just the frequency, but it's the quality of participation. Make specific comments to recorded, make specific references to recorded comments. Let students know what is good class participation. When somebody really comes up with a good point, I let students know this is the way I expect class participation. Let them know early in the semester. It helps the students to really be able to understand what is good class participation. What are we striving for? So when you get those early examples, early in the semester, make sure the students know, reinforce that this is good class participation. Okay? Justify to the students that grading is more than just subjective impressions. Tell them, here's how I grade. Every day when I go back to the office after class, I sit down, I take the class roster out, and you get a score between 1 and 3, 1 and 5, whatever it is. You get a 1 if you were in the classroom. If you really contributed, you can make 5. If you weren't here, you get a 0. At the end of the semester, I add it all up and I rank the class, just like anything else. But let them know. Okay, let the students know what your grading scheme is and how you're going to be grading them. And that will set their preparation levels. Tell them about the benefit. Tell them about the penalty. If you're not here, you get a 0. If you don't raise your hand, you don't speak, you don't get any other points. Okay, also, tell students what they're not supposed to do. A lot of times students will go back, take your case, and they'll go ask students who had your class the previous year. What did they discuss? What was the heart of the case? Get the case notes from somebody else. Tell them. If you don't want them doing it, tell them that that is a violation of the honor code at your university. Okay? Now, I don't use the same 2 cases year after year. I usually pause for a year in between cases. Okay, that means I have to prep a lot more cases, but I find that those notes then are not as readily available. Okay, seniors don't give them to juniors, okay, if you will. But be sure you let them know exactly what you want from them. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. If you want your students prepared, let them know how you want them prepared. Okay? Now, we used to have a group, when I was the dean at the University of Texas, we used to have a group down there that used to teach out of the Harvard style. And the Harvard style is this extremely demanding style for the level of participation by the student. And what they would tell you is, okay, I come in the classroom and you will get 1 chance to open during the semester. Okay? If you are not prepared, you lose an entire letter grade. And then they tell you what they want in terms of preparation. That you can do at least a 5-minute narrative on the case facts, the case issues, and the potential solutions for that case. So the students have to be prepared with that each and every day that they walk in. Now, that's a really high hurdle. That's what Harvard kind of likes. Now, I remember when Ben Shapiro, the first class I ever took on teaching cases, actually, first time I ever sat through a case teaching discussion was I had my job interview at Harvard, and I remember Ben Shapiro talking about the level of commitment he wanted for the opening comment. And I looked at the guy and I said, "But Ben," I said, "what about that student who just doesn't like to participate?" I said, "what do you do with them?" Because you have some of those students that might be foreign students, or they might be shy, they're just really not. Do you really want to make them participate at that level? He says, that's the question I've dealt with all my life, is whether we do that or not, whether we demand that or not. Now, in electives, you can demand it, because they're choosing to be in your classroom. But if you're in a core course, sometimes you have to say, okay, look, a little bit of participation is a good thing. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Okay? But let people know, what do you want from them?